Hi, this is James with Trade Classics, here with Tim in his 1981 Series 3 Land Rover. Tim,
hello.
Thank you for your time.
No worries, no worries.
So, tell us a little bit about your Land Rover. So, Series 3, 1981,
Yep.
in blue.
In blue, marine blue is the
Marine.
correct paint code. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're packing a 2.25 litre diesel engine, which
Lovely.
is pretty...
She's pacey.
Yeah, upwards of 70 horsepower when new, which you can imagine after however many years of abuse and neglect. It's probably about right, really. Yeah.
You say abuse and neglect. You've owned the car for a very long time. It was your first car. Is
It
that
was.
correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
But you've done quite a lot to it.
I have. So, when I finished uni, I got a bit bored, basically, for a few weeks, and I decided I'd fit a new galvanised chassis and bulkhead, which is the bit with all the sort of footwell and the bit that everything attaches to in the middle, essentially. What else did I do? Fit some new engines, played around with petrols and diesels, and sort of eventually got it more or less right, I think. So yeah, essentially it's a bit of a Trigger's broom as far as cars go. It's had one of everything, apart from most of the bodywork, which is pretty much as it was when it left the factory.
And I should just say, normally we'd be driving during this portion, but anyone who's ever been in a Series Land Rover knows NVH was very much a target of theirs. So noise, vibration, harshness, they've hit all three, haven't they?
They have. They've absolutely maxed it out on every single one. Yeah. It's probably the most uncomfortable, most unreliable, most deafening vehicle I've ever owned, but I still love it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no contest in my mind.
As you would, and you love it so much you use it every day.
I do, yeah, you're absolutely right. So I run a little garage down in Dorset, and it gets used for unbelievably towing vehicles back that need fixing, some of which are actually heavier than the actual vehicle itself, so you can imagine how that is with 70 horsepower. Yeah, it's a terrific bit of kit, and it gets used for picking up gravel and sand and things for various building projects that I've got going on. So yeah, it's definitely a working vehicle, certainly not a showpiece.
Yeah, exactly, and you'll see that from the outside shots. It's it's a very honest car, but actually the running gear underneath, you use it for work, so it has to all work. So all of that is is very sort of nailed on, and it's just the appearance just lets you use it as you want to use it. You've got a canvas top at the moment, but you've got a truck cab.
Yeah,
for the winter.
I certainly do, because obviously, as you can see, or you might not be able to see, actually, there's quite a few holes in here. This canvas has done very well, actually. It's 10 years old, but it really is sort of getting towards time for another one, if I'm being honest.
It keeps most of the rain out.
Yeah, well, not really, no.
Some of the rain out.
There's enormous gaps everywhere. But yeah, the truck cab's quite good for the winter months, keeps you nice and toasty. And,
it means the heat doesn't have to work quite so hard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the heater actually is probably the most efficient bit on the entire car, because the rest of it is rubbish. Yes, if I'm honest. Certainly on the electrical front of things, it's not a very well equipped car at all, really. You've got wipers, a heater, a horn, and that's about it. But yeah, the heater surprisingly is probably the most efficient thing on the car.
I suppose they knew who they were building it for. The Welsh farmer.
The Welsh farmer who likes to keep his hands warm in the winter. You're absolutely right. Or his knees.
Yeah.
Because these are fitted with shin burners, as they're often known in the trade. So it's a small plastic vent that comes out the lower dash, and it just blasts hot air at your legs and nowhere else. Which obviously, if you sat in what is essentially the motoring equivalent of a Bedouin tent, that's about the only bit which stays warm on those cold winter nights. Yeah.
And so, why Land Rover? It's your first car. That's such an unusual first car.
Yeah.
Most people go for a Corsa Mini or something like that. Why?
Why Corsa? Terrible.
Well, yeah,
wouldn't recommend that
not
at
a good car.
No,
this is much more interesting. So
it is.
You've gone through a lot of cars since owning this. And it's sort of retained its interest to you.
Yeah, I think it's probably the only car that I get in, and like you say, I've owned quite a few, where I still have that same sort of, I can't describe it, like a sort of childish excitement every time I turn the key, and I'm like, you're sort of going on an adventure. I know it sounds really lame, but it's that sort of feeling of, you're excited to go somewhere in it, because, it only does 45 miles an hour, absolutely flat out, wherever you go, and, it's just exciting for that reason, really, because you think, bloody hell, I'm going to be able to take my lorries and everything else. It's great, yeah.
But it's so charming, isn't it? We drove it down here, and people smile when they see it go by. So you can really understand why people covet these little things.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. I mean, there's a lot of stuff associated with the real early ones now. They're getting quite collectible, and they're getting a bit sort of rivet countery and all the rest of it. The nice thing about this is no one really cares about the Series 3. It's sort of like your cheap entry into series ownership, and I quite like that because all of them are different. You see ones with homemade roll cages on, or like some enormous contraption out the back for some bit of agricultural machinery. You got no idea what it's for, but someone's set to with the world and thought that'll look good on the back of
That's
my
what I
car.
need.
I can't think outside of the agricultural industry of any other vehicle really where it inspires that level of owner interaction with their car.
Yeah.
So I think that's that's quite cool. It's always appealed to me, that.
Yeah, it's sort of blank canvas for you.
Yeah, exactly that.
Perfect. Well, look, we'll get some driving shots in a bit, but Tim, thank you very much for your time.
Welcome, mate. No worries.
Cheers.
Cheers.